I'm Phil, and I'm going to continue with my space science projects using the ElecFreak Microbit Space Science Kit. And I've introduced this before, so we'll just go on to my next project. We'll just scroll down, and the project is launching the rocket, and I'm going to have a look at adding the sounds of the launch and the colors of the engines being fired. So this is what it looks like on my desktop, but I'm only actually going to use one launch pad this time without an arm. So there's my SpaceX rocket on the right, and next to that there's a Nisha Microbit adapter. Now, I'm using version 1, but you could use either version 1 or version 2 for this. And you can see what I've added. On the bottom, I've added an MP3 player. And next to that, there's an adapter that allows me to go from the RJ11 cable to a Grove cable so that I can connect Grove devices such as the ring, and I've got the LED ring surrounding the base of the rocket to simulate the engines being fired. So let's just increase the font size and have a look at the objective. So we're going to start countdown and then fire the rocket engines. We're going to provide an abort button, but this will only work before we get to 0 on our countdown. Software-wise, we're going to learn about logic using APIs in our MakeCode program. We're going to learn about variables for countdown and state of the rocket. Is it in the launch mode? And we'll have a look at using functions and events. Particularly when we press buttons like button A and B. We've got some design objectives too, and we'll look at starting the countdown by pressing button A on the microbit. And to abort everything, we press the microbit button B. To start the rocket engines, we're going to show the colors on the NeoPixel strip. It's actually a circular array rather than a linear strip. And we're going to simulate the engine fire with those changing colors of the NeoPixels. We'll simulate the sound of countdown, launch, and we'll use rockets from live recordings of NASA rockets. And if we do press the abort button, we'll announce abort over the speaker. I'm going to provide the user with feedback when we launch the rocket. It'll be ready, and when it is ready, we will show on our microbit LED array an R. And if for countdown, we're going to show a C, and for launch, we'll have an L. And in addition to that, we'll have an A for abort. Hardware, we're going to use version 1 of the Nisha adapter for microbit, but you can use, as an alternative, you can also use the newer version, version 2. And we'll be using Planet X devices. Now, these don't come with a space kit adapter. And the first one for MP3, we're going to use the MP3 player. And we can record and store the various sounds, and our program can access the files on this little device. So that device is just under $20, and there is support on the ElecFreaks wiki. So you can program that. And you can either use the ElecFreak strip, LED strip, or the one that I'm using for this project is the Seed Studio circular 24 neopixel array, and it looks like this. And you'll need the GPIO adapter to convert from the RJ11 cable terminals to the Grove terminal, so we can then use the Grove RGB ring. And that's just about all of the peripherals. I've got it also mounted on a Lego board. Connection-wise, if you use the Planet X NeoPixels, you use the top one, but the one I'm using is the bottom one, 4B, and you can see where the GPIO adapter is used and how it's connected. Okay, so we might go across and have a look at the software. I'm going to use MakeCode. This is my program, and I'm going to use APIs for that. So we'll go across now and have a look at the construction, and I'll walk through the MakeCode blocks for that. But just before I do that, to get the rocket sound, I'm using sound effects from this disk, and it's stored as an MP3 file, and I'm going to download it into my Planet X MP3 player. For countdown, I'm going to record my own voice with Audacity, and that will allow me to record numbers from 10 to 0 as separate MP3 files. And it all executed quite well. Let's go across now and we'll have a look at the so I've gone across to my Chrome browser on my Windows PC, and I've connected to the Microsoft MakeCode IDE. And here's my program. So I've already added the extensions for the Nisha version 2, and I've got the Planet X base and display and the IoT and the AI lens. I won't be using the last one, but I will be using bits from the others. So this is my whole program for the rocket launch, and it's mainly looking at simulating the engines being fired with the sound. And before that, I have a countdown to start my rocket. Overall, the program on the left is initializing the variables, and under that I've got the forever loop, and in the middle I've got the function for launching rockets, and on the right I've got the countdown, and below that I've got the event programming for pressing button A and B. So we might actually walk through that in a little bit more detail so I can explain what's going on. So right at the start, I announced that it's rocket launch version 5. And then I initialized the MP3 player, and it's assigned to port J4. I put the volume at the maximum so you can hear it quite clearly, and I use the NeoPixel array. So this is addressing the Seed Studio NeoPixel circular ring with 24 LEDs, and I set that to maximum brightness, then I clear it. Then I got all my variables. So the color time is how long in milliseconds it switches between colors when the engine is being fired. The maximum count for countdown is 10, and I count down from there. And I set my initial count to maximum count. And I have 3 files that I want to use in addition to the countdown numerals. And they are on file 11, 12, and 13. And I set the launch initially to false, and I just turn on the NeoPixel array to a blue color for only for about half a second, just to make sure that it's working. And in the forever loop, if it's not launched, it's going to show on the Microbit LED array an R symbol. So if we press button A, which is the next one I want to explain, this allows me to launch. So it sets the launch variable to true. It calls countdown, and if it is true, which it is, it will call the launch the rocket, then reset the launch back to false. And if we press button B, it will show A for abort and put the launch into a false mode. And we use these in our countdown and also in the launch. So in countdown, it will show C on the Microbit LED array. It will set countdown to a maximum, and then it's going to go using index up till count max, and it's going to actually count down. So, so if the count is equal to count max, we set our file with only one leading 0, and the rest of it is used to create the file that we access on our MP3 player. And we wait 2 seconds, and if it's between 0 and 9, we have an extra leading 0 on the file name. And we wait 1 second, and we count down. So we're going to go down by 1, and we repeat that in that for loop for the count max interval. And if it is abort, it will show an abort sign. And the other function is used, see if we can find that. That's next to that one. This is used to launch the rocket. So if it is a launch and it's been called by button A, it will show L, and it will show, it will announce on our MP3 player the sound launch. And after it's done that, it will actually provide the rocket sounds to be played on our MP3 player. And after that, we just change the colors every 200 milliseconds by cycling through red, orange, yellow, and blue. And that simulates our engines being fired. And if it is an abort, we will just sound that on our MP3 player. And that's the software in Blocky for our rocket launch to simulate the engine being fired with lights and sound. So how did it go? Well, I got the results that I wanted to achieve. That is, I was able to start the countdown by pressing button A, and I did provide an abort function. I also used logic, APIs from the library to control my devices, and I use variables for countdown and state of the rockets. Also use functions and events. And these events relate to when I press button A on the microbit or button B. Design-wise, I was able to start the countdown, do the abort, and I used the colors on a NeoPixel strip to simulate the rocket engine being fired. And I simulated the sounds and provided sounds for countdown, launch, for the rocket engines, and for abort. And I gave the user some feedback. So if you're interested, go across and have a look at my desktop demonstration of this, which will follow on the next segment. And that's all. After this, that's all from me. This is our SpaceX launch site, and we have 2 launches. And we're ready to have a look at the new one, which is based on the original version of the adapter, the Nisha version 1 adapter, which is hosting a Microbit. And we've got connected an MP3 player, and we also have NeoPixels on this ring. And what we're going to do is simulate the lights of the rocket taking off, and also the sounds for both countdown and the sound for the rocket launching. So let's launch our rocket. And the way we do that is that we go to button A on our Microbit computer, and we press button A. We get a countdown.
Countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff.
And our rocket takes off. We also have an abort mode, so if we put our rocket back on again, ready to take off, we can start the countdown as we did before, and it will start counting. Now, if we want to abort,
Countdown. 10, 9, 8,
then we can abort.
7.
We get an A for abort, and it will abort the process of launching our rocket. And that's the SpaceX rocket site. We're now going to start Audacity. So we'll bring that up on the screen, bring it across. Now we've got Audacity. We're going to record the abort, the word abort for our model. So we just simply go to record, abort, then stop it. Now we don't want the whole lot. So what we do is highlight this segment and just cut it out. And we don't need the part at the beginning, so we can cut that out. And we'll export it as audio to my computer. and it's going to be abort. And we'll export that. And we can then put that into our MP3 player.